enjoy work and enjoy your career. Because I did go into corporate, I did after I owned my restaurants. I was a corporate controller for like 20 locations. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I hated it after being an entrepreneur and knowing my freedom and I can travel and I can make 10 times more than my salary take home. It's hard to go back to corporate, but after you know, going through so many trials and tribulations, and then for the security of the salary and the retirement and the health benefits and the clocking out at 5 and the no weekend calls and all that. There's that was appealing for a moment until I got stuck in it, and it really pretty much almost broke me. Um, and that's probably when I had my midlife crisis. I was like, almost 40. My daughter was, almost 18. I had already, owned many businesses and made multis and millions of dollars with my businesses. And I moved to the big city thinking I needed to get out of the comfort zone and challenge myself and get a corporate job. Sounds silly. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah,
When I look back now, I realize.
they Yeah, I mean, I always had my side hustle. I had a couple side clients I would do payroll for, and I still kind of neck deep in the restaurant business, and I did finally get a hybrid job, corporate job where I was pretty much an asset and they just used me and made millions of dollars off of me, and I was just suffered through.
Yep, know that feeling. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? After my, crisis with pain, I had two herniated discs, I had two back surgeries. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was medicated. Nobody was doing MRIs and trying to help me with my pain. But really, what it was is, I was just spiraling to doom and gloom inside. And I was so depleted and I was giving from an empty cup. It was like um, I couldn't pull myself out of it either. So I was just kind of complacent in it. So I had a real hard knock there.
Do you think
Yeah.
that that was probably the universe nudge going,
Yeah.
you're
Get
in
out, kick
you're
me
going
right in
in
my
the
butt.
wrong direction. You need to get out of this. It's killing you, right?
Yeah. It really was. And that was the thing. Like I had lost all my love and feeling and passion and joy for life. I totally forgot what I like to do. I was just like on autopilot.
So, welcome back to another exclusive episode on the Passionate Pioneer podcast with my special guest today, Charity Brown. Hi, Charity.
Hi there.
So, you know me, I'm Beth Taylor. I am the Passionate Pioneer, your spiritual awakening and joy specialist, and the leader of Passionistas around the world. But you may not know my guest, Charity. So, would you mind giving us a quick introduction about who you are and what you do before we dive into your story?
Yes, thank you for this wonderful opportunity to connect with your audience. I am so grateful. And so I've been creating my brand, Create Clarity with Charity. I have a book, I'm an author, I'm a podcaster. I also have a podcast called Create Clarity with Charity. I have a program called The Happy CEO, and I help people really tap into their inner fitness and really dial into what happiness is to them while they're running their business.
I love that. I love the happy CEO, and I also love clarity with charity. It's just, I love these little anecdotes that these little sayings that you've created all around your business. So let's start diving into your story then. So what was the moment for you where you saw a problem in your industry and that made you ditch the status quo and start this entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, well, it goes way back. I think I was born an entrepreneur in my DNA because I was like a kid, I would be like selling tie-dye t-shirts and, dog grooming, and I'd be soliciting to my neighbors. So I really have a passion for it. And, my life was more alternative. My mom was a teen mom, and I didn't have a lot of guidance, and I didn't really know who I wanted to be. And I kind of went through like the first stages of my life, like really lost. And even in high school, I was battling, personality disorders and things like that. And I really had quite a bit of adversity. And so, I was probably labeled like she's going to be a failure or she's going to be a teen mom or, and I took that passion and that drive to not be a failure and I put it into what I wanted, what was I passionate about. And so I went to beauty school. And at 17, 18 years old, I graduated and I started my little salon and I was a freelancer. So I was like really disappointed though in the business itself because they don't give training like that in beauty school. They don't teach you how to run a business. They don't teach you how to build a book of business. They don't teach you how to market. They don't teach you how to do your profit and loss statement. It's just kind of like here, do hair, do nails, go be pretty, and so that was
Very
like my first.
helpful. Really helpful on a business side of things, right?
It would have been helpful, but they don't teach you to go out and freelance and start your own business. They think you're going to go work for some corporate barbershop or corporate, kind of franchise thing and just be an employee. But I really, had like the passion and I had some connects that had a salon and I leased out the little corner. And I was only 19, and I was so lost and I was, struggling so bad. And I really, you know, pretty much failed in that industry because I didn't have business tools. So while I was going through my suffering and not having enough money and pregnant with my daughter, I was like, okay, I need to do something. And so I started taking Business 101 at the community college. And I really felt like, oh my gosh, I totally have a passion for this. And it ended up, ended up being a really good student, even though, in regular school, I was, labeled a failure because I dropped out of high school and I went to beauty school and I took the alternative route. I didn't fit in the box ever. And so, through that first lesson, I got into business, and then I got my accounting and business degree. And before I even graduated, I had 5 clients. And, Janet Caddy was one of my mentors back then, and she was a multi-millionaire who owned an airplane, a holistic business, a commerce center. And she took me under her wing and was like, no, you are going to start your own firm and I'm going to be your first client. And she gave me like 5,000. She's like, this is your first contract. And that contract literally changed my life because I caught someone who was embezzling money from her. I was brand new out of my field. I didn't really know anything other than what book debit credits were, business, and then my failure as a salon owner at such a young age. So I was kind of really insecure, and I really didn't feel confident in who I was and what I was doing. But she gave me so much confidence and trust that it literally changed my entire life. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it all started, I
That's
guess.
interesting though, isn't it? But they do say fail fast.
Fail fast. Yeah. And fail forward because,
Fail early and
yeah,
fail fast. So, you did
yeah,
that very, very early on at 19, right? So you at least
yeah,
you tried it and then
yeah.
realized, well, okay, so now I know what I need to do to do it right.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't know then either. So I had several failures after that.
But
So I
it's
learned from,
it's all about
yeah,
taking the next step, right, Charity? It's a taking the next step and taking the next step, right?
yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just always the resilience, getting back up and never letting you get you down and learning from it and finding a new way that, you didn't know before. And that's what I found out with even my clients, because I had a lot of business clients doing their payroll and their books and helping them, really streamline their operations in the restaurant business and a lot of retail, a lot of e-commerce, a lot of car lots. So many clients I've seen fail as well. And so I've seen their resilience as well and how they got back up and how you can start over overnight if you decide. You get to decide, we have the power of choice to stay stuck in our funk or to get up and try again. So it really is about resiliency, I think, and, not losing that fire and that drive to succeed in whatever you're doing.
And of course,
Yeah.
everything's always changing. The only constant we have is change, right? So
Right.
you've got to change and evolve. And if, something didn't work, it's not the end of the world. You try something new.
Yeah,
Try something else
exactly.
that you like, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that's, I'm down for a challenge. I think that's what motivates me. Sure. Entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur is a wild ride. It's very exciting. It can be very lucrative and very freeing. There's a lot of freedom in it. There's a lot of money in it. There's, a lot of opportunity to, explore your creative and like really, enjoy work and enjoy your career. Because I did go into corporate, I did after I owned my restaurants. I was a corporate controller for like 20 locations. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I hated it. After being an entrepreneur and knowing my freedom and I can travel and I can make 10 times more than my salary take home, it's hard to go back to corporate. But after like, you know, going through so many trials and tribulations, and then for the security of the salary and the retirement and the health benefits and the clocking out at 5 and the no weekend calls and all that. There's that was appealing for a moment until I got stuck in it, and it really pretty much almost broke me. Um, and that's probably when I had my midlife crisis. I was like, almost 40. My daughter was, almost 18. I had already, owned many businesses and made multis and millions of dollars with my businesses. And I moved to the big city thinking I needed to get out of the comfort zone and challenge myself and get a corporate job. How silly. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah,
When I look back now, I realize.
they Yeah, I mean, I always had my side hustle. I had a couple clients, side clients I would do payroll for, and like, I still kind of neck deep in the restaurant business, and um, I did finally get a hybrid job, corporate job where I was pretty much an asset, and they just used me and made millions of dollars off of me, and I was just suffered through.
Yep, know that feeling. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? After my, crisis with pain, I had two herniated discs. I had two back surgeries. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was medicated. Nobody was doing MRIs and trying to help me with my pain. But really, what it was is, I was just spiraling to doom and gloom inside. And I was so depleted and I was giving from an empty cup. It was like um, I couldn't pull myself out of it either. So I was just kind of complacent in it. So I had a real hard knock there.
Do you think
Yeah.
that that was probably the universe nudge going,
Yeah.
you're
Get
in
out,
you're
kick me
going
right in
in
my
the
butt.
wrong direction. You need to get out of this. It's killing you, right?
Yeah. It really was. And that was the thing. Like I had lost all my love and feeling and passion and joy for life. I totally forgot what I like to do. I was just like on autopilot. I was just like a human doing instead of a human being. I was just like a drone in the cube, suffering. My suffering was so deep that I literally think I manifested those two back surgeries because I was self-imploding. I was just like so stuck in the pain, the disappointment, the frustration, the resentment. I was so mad at myself and then staying stuck. And then I was even more mad. So it was just like a
Yeah.
constant war.
You know what? It's not the first time that, I've heard that story where you just need something really drastic happens for you to make a pivot, a really big life pivot. But it is unusual for you to be an entrepreneur and still continue to be an entrepreneur and then go into the corporate world, because my journey was always in the it was in catering, hotel and catering, and then I went into corporate management and I was stuck. I enjoyed it for a time, but then it was enough. It was just soul destroying, exactly like you described. And then I changed. But it's
Hmm.
funny to hear that, because my brother, my younger brother, had always been an entrepreneur. At 19, he made the decision, I can't work for anybody else. I'm going to be my own boss. And so he was always an entrepreneur. And I was always like, oh, yeah, I'm so proud of you, because I was too scared to do it.
Yeah.
Because
It's very scary.
it's
Yeah.
the fear, isn't it, of
Yeah.
starting and doing your own business, and then where is you don't have the monthly salary coming in, you don't have the different departments to help you and somebody to call. You're basically on your own when you first start, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a one woman army, it's like you
Right.
got to be everything, chief everything officer, hence the happy CEO, chief everything officer. You have to do it all at first, bootstrap it, right?
Correct.
It's like looking over, a big cliff and there's really beautiful water, crystal clean water and a waterfall down there, but it's hard to like make that jump, because it's so scary because you don't have the golden parachute, you don't have the security of, you know, not having the salary. So I definitely get the feeling of, being stuck in a place, being complacent. I lived like in the same town for 35 years. It took me 35 years to move out, and I was stuck there. I should have did it 20 years earlier, so I'm like, that's the thing. Why I created the Happy CEO, because it's really about dialing into that inner fitness. And if we're not doing our inner fitness, then we're going to stay stuck, because we need to continually move, have action, have vision, have joy, have things that are creating magnetism and momentum for us to find our vision and our goals and joy and stuff.
Well, that speaks to me because I'm all about finding the joy moments. Because listen, when you pass over to the other side, that's all you take with you are those joy moments. So you've got to find as many joy moments as possible. And it's really difficult for most women because they get pigeonholed into something, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a corporate leader, whatever it is. We get pigeonholed, and it's just like, find some joy moments for you, whatever that means. But let's just go into that happy CO charity, because I'm really, what is it? What does
Yeah.
happiness mean for you? Describe it to us in the context of business, and why is it such an essential ingredient for success and sustainable success?
Yeah, well, so the Happy CEO really is the core foundation of the 4 Ps framework: power, planning, positioning, and profits. And the P, power, is number one. And that's where you find your happiness and your vision for greatness and your joy factor. And if we don't bake that into business, everyone's doomed. Literally, if we could practice the first P and the 4 Ps every day, like we're going to the gym, the inner fitness gym, you know, everybody would be glowing and more happy and more kind to themselves, building better relationships with others, and also nurturing and loving our planet and just having a whole different outlook. You know, that's what I learned in corporate finance. Being in the boardrooms of CEOs, everybody's poker face. Nobody really knows the turmoil and the chaos that's going on. Everyone's stuffing all their emotions. They think emotionality is not having any, and everyone's just driven by, their corporate salary and their retirement, and being stuck in this rigid box where they can't be themselves, they can't be authentic, they have to fake it to make it. Like it's just the wrong way. Like you're saying, I was not in alignment with that. It was killing me internally in my body. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel like I was expressing my creative, enjoying it. It was just like the biggest pain, right? But then when you start thinking about it, I have to take responsibility for, projecting, because I wasn't doing the work. And I was creating a bad reality for myself at the same time, because I was so stuck in the pain and the resentment and the anger that I wasn't really dealing with. Okay, how can I be happier? What does happy look like? I didn't even consider it. Like, I wasn't even thinking, like, I need to create this vision of what does success look like to me? What am I doing? How much am I making? Where am I at? And really manifesting it and knowing, okay, I know who I am. It's an identity shift. I am not this person. And I know that I am this higher self that I see and know that I have the skills to do. And that's when we really dial into those P's, is because we really need to get a good vision and a good understanding of our identity, our personality, what does happiness look like? And I have all these amazing tools to do it, to create, that belief within oneself about themselves, because society they try to bake us into who they think we should be
Oh
or
yeah.
who they think we are. Right. And like being a people pleaser my entire life and an empath, I was just always wanting to make other people like me and approve of me and say I wasn't a failure and say I'm really smart and prove. And I had to ditch that. Like it didn't matter how many degrees I had. It didn't matter how many businesses I owned anymore. Didn't matter everything I did. It was like that if I'm looking for external validation from these people that I feel don't value me, that I resent, I'm looking in the wrong place.
The
I need
wrong
to look
place.
within.
Right. Hi, I just wanted to pop on here just to say thank you so much for being here, watching this video and supporting my channel. It is my honor to bring you these stories from these incredible women who are passionate about their lives and have alchemized their spiritual awakening journeys from service to self to service to others. If you would like to be part of my Passionista community, just grab a free copy of my workbook, which you'll find a link below. It's called Your Passionista Journey Starts Here. And start making those small changes to your life that you need right now. Thank you again for being here. Love you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you know when all the new weekly episodes are live. Thanks again, Passionista. Much love and joy. Now let's get back to the interview.
Yeah. Well, I know who I am. And that's what really took me out is that you got to generate that power within, that belief about who you are and what you want in life. And if you ditch that, if you ditch yourself and put yourself on the back burner because so and so needs so much of your time and energy, or that you forgot the vision of what you wanted. Why did you do all that? Where, what why would you sacrifice so much time, love, energy for other people? What if you put that back into yourself? First. And so that's the first P is that I help people plan it as well, like in your calendar, your power hour every day, you first, and dial into your vision, who you are, what you want, write it out, get excited, go dance, go work out, have some fun, really vibe with yourself, look in the mirror, say you're proud of yourself, do mirror work, really dial in to that vision of who you know you are. And you can literally shift your entire world.
I love that. I just love that, Charity. And you know what? Taking back your power and putting you on your schedule are two of the really important things. And, I'm the leader of Passionistas. I have a Passionista community. So I would say that's your inner Passionista is taking back your power.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
I forgot about me. Like I
Yeah.
was putting everyone first, and I was just like a pawn in this game of life. And I was done being a pawn. I'm like, this, I deserve better. And that's when you start feeling more worthy, when you start investing in yourself and time within yourself and really doing the work. I had to get mentors and coaches. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Tony Robbins and Ty Lopez and Sam Evans and Lisa Nichols and, my Zen Zone coach, Alan Knight, who's an amazing man who certified me in the 9 steps to inner freedom, the Zen Zone mindset. And that's the first P. So that's the framework that I use. And I'm a certified coach. And he's a former Zen monk, and he created this framework like 40 some years ago. And we work together. And so we help people literally shift into a whole different version of themselves because it is so possible. I've lost 100 pounds. I literally have no debt. I literally love my life. I wake up in the morning because I have chosen that for myself. I'm no longer letting life run me.
Do you think that's a scary thing, Charity? Is that why what most women run from is that power? Because it's like, who do I think I am?
Mhm.
It's the fear factor of
Mhm.
of of owning who you are and having an authentic voice and valuing yourself and feeling worthy and good enough to have a
Exactly.
voice and taking back your power. And it's like you've been told all your life by other people in society that you've got to stay in this box, and to break out of that box is really scary. And then you've got the journey of the inner journey, which you said
Mhm.
you had coaches. I had coaches. Every entrepreneur I know has had support
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
invested in themselves financially and time
Yes,
to
you have
do
to.
the
You're the
inner
best
work.
investment.
Right.
We're our best investment. You have to.
Correct.
If you keep on yourself with time and money, then you are going to see it in other areas of life. And yeah, so I think that that's so key. I love that, you know, you have a community where you cultivate joy and coaching. Like, I love that's literally where I had to recultivate my joy for life is in community with coaches, with mentors, with people that had valid frameworks that would help you really dial in to who you are, what you want, what you need to change, because we all have that superpower. We all have the power of choice. And when we choose us, then there's no stopping us if you really believe in you. But that sometimes cultivating that belief and dealing with the ugly stuff that we all want to numb and just, all the wounding, all the trauma, we have to go through it to get through it. And so I think it's important, that the fear, where you don't feel fear, there's no growth. So if you're scared of going inside, that's probably where you should go.
That's exactly where you've got to go, right? So what are the other, you said there were four P's. So the first one is power. What are the other three and how do they factor into this happy CEO?
Yes. So this is for entrepreneurs. So the second P is planning. And I'm a big planner. I've had huge success with my investor pitches. Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank has endorsed the
I see
program.
that. Yes.
And because it is the best way to form your business if you want banks, investors, partners, to really validate your business and be able to get leverage, capital and things like that. So we do this business GPS. And it's a program where we dial in all the coordinates essentially, and it's your map to success. So now you have the vision from power because we empower with the ultimate vision of how you look as that successful CEO, entrepreneur on the mountaintop, victorious. What does that look like? What are you selling? What problem are you solving? What's your mission? Who's your competition? We do SWOT tests. We do the whole thing together. So it's like a business roadmap. So if you get off track, you can just come back and look at your goals, who your team was, what your strategy was, what your sales channels are, blah, blah, blah. It's like your whole business map on in a program. So
Right.
that's the planning.
And then next.
Oh, and then positioning.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yes, positioning yourself in your market space, knowing who your client is, really dialing into your client avatar, really looking into, the sales channels, setting up all your socials, getting your $1 million branding report, which is the best tool on earth. And Manatee, my partner, Brian, he's the CEO, and it is a world-class report that helps you brand your business with authority, that uses the keywords, what kind of colors that will appear, really just positions you as an authority in the market space.
Yeah, I love that. It's really important. All of these factors have to fall into place after you've done the power work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the last P is you've got prospects, which is, and then profits,
Profit, profits.
which just
Yes,
everything tied together, isn't it? If you know you're
yes.
planning, if you've got your marketing strategy and you know who you are and you're standing in your power,
The money will come.
the money will come, right? Exactly. Right.
Then you got a pretty good chance of making some money.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then there is this belief system thing I go through with money because a lot of people have certain beliefs about money that keep them stuck. Even after they know who they are, they still have this relationship with money that's very like dysfunctional. And you can stop yourself from receiving and being abundant just because you have some beliefs, a simple belief that you need to squash.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the happy CEO. It really, really builds the entrepreneur because I know how to alleviate stumbling blocks for entrepreneurs that are either just starting their business or that have been in business 10 years because I've had so much experience in finance, banking, and entrepreneurship, being an owner, having employees or even, leveraging huge lines of credit and working with investors like billionaire sharks like Kevin Harrington. I really know how to help people scale.
That's really good.
And be happy doing it because
Yeah.
it could be a real pain.
And I work on the PowerPoints, the power. I mean, not the PowerPoint presentation. I'll do those as well. But the power, the points of the power. That's what I do for Passionista. So I work on the first point, but you take it that one step further and you take them through the whole roadmap of being a happy CEO.
Yeah, in 5 weeks. So it's 5 weeks. So we do it accelerated. So it's not like this long drawn out thing. You get the software, you get the reports. It's like boom, boom, boom. We do it together. You don't have to struggle figuring out how to log in or
Nice.
anything. I make it really easy. And because I think the faster you scale, like you said, scale fast, fail fast, and then get back up, learn from that, and tweak the plan a little, and then keep going. And then we're there to support you.
Very good. Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
So let's just can I just step back because I just want to I know your work is focused on helping people find clarity. So can you share a time when you had to tune into your own intuition? Because part of the power thing is listening to yourself and listening to your intuition. Um, and that can be difficult in a business that you're not sure of to start when you're a new entrepreneur,
Mhm.
or you're thinking of changing your careers. And some of my clients are thinking about starting their own business, or they're thinking of changing their career to find more satisfaction in their work. So, what what was a time in your business where you had to make a difficult decision and you tuned into your intuition and you listened to yourself? And what was the result?
Yeah, well, I mean, number one, it was when I jumped corporate ship because I was so defeated. I was so lost in the haze. I was not having any clarity. I was healing from two back surgeries and trying to lose 100 pounds. And, I was so frustrated. And I hired a coach. I got help. I started a program called the Accelerator with consulting.com, Sam Evans course in like 2016, I think. And I was just anti 40, I think it's 47 steps. And I started doing some programs, and dialing back into myself while I was healing from these back surgeries. And I got super clear because I was isolated in my box. I was on workers' comp. So I was just like, I had nothing else to do. And I just invested it all into myself and just was like fed up. Like, I am done. Like, as soon as I can get up, I am on my way. I'm back to, running my own firm, having my own clients, making my own schedule. And so there was a lot of, clarity, soul work, planning that went into that to create Now Answer Group, which is my firm. And Sam's program got me remotivated, and I started it within like 5 weeks while I was healing on workers' comp. I got super clear. I did my planning, I did my positioning, I got my client avatar, and I only had $250 in the bank because I wasn't working. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I know how to register my EIN for free. I know how to set up my business ID for free. I know I can open a bank account for $50. I did. And I made 5 times my salary, my monthly salary, the first 2 months. I just put one ad out. And so then I could resign. And when I tried to resign, my the corporate firm I was working for, the fractional CFO company, they're like, actually, clients love you. We'll actually pay you 80 and we'll take 20 now. And so I got the huge contract with my firm. I got to keep all my other clients that I'd built. I got like 5 new clients. I had like 15 different construction companies. I was balling like first quarter out. I was like, okay. And all I had to do was get clear. Remember who I am, what I want, what I came for, what's my maximum amount I can make a month, how many clients do I need? I use my accounting skill or my creative because I also have a degree in media and communications. I do a lot of PR with ABC, CBS, and it's like media groups, positioning myself as an authority. I had to come back to myself because I forgot who I was.
But then,
So
but you got clear.
I got clear, and it just like I couldn't, it was like a freight train that you could not stop me. And then I moved to, I got the Kevin Harrington endorsement. He saw my 5-star business accelerate even when COVID hit. So COVID was another stumbling block because I worked with a lot of hospitality and restaurateurs because I had been in the business for so long. So all my clients were shut down, the golf clubs, the steakhouses, the banquet halls. So I lost like 80% of my clients. And so I was pivoting again, spinning, stuck in my condo with only like a handful of clients left. And I was like, what am I going to do? And at that point, I was empty nesting. My daughter's 23; she was off to college. So I was like, I can move finally. I can finally get out of Oregon. And so I packed my car with my dog. My best friends lived in my condo, and I rented out the other parts of it. And I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I rescaled my business here. And I that's what I'm saying. There's always going to be these things that life throws at you that you
Pivots.
don't know. Yeah. The lemons, the stumbling blocks, the scud missiles of life, like,
Welcome to the life of an entrepreneur, right? I mean,
yeah. So, and I've had some upsets here. Everything isn't always peachy, but I refuse to give up because I know what I'm doing is from a heart-centered place. And I help women and I help people that deserve it, that want abundance and clarity, and they deserve the inner freedom. And I have tools for that because I've experienced it myself. So I know it's not, you know, woo-woo, just blah, blah, blah. It's
no.
the real stuff.
Now you're speaking my language, Charity. That's for sure, right?
Yes.
You're speaking my
Yeah.
language. So, so let's talk about when, you have to, as an entrepreneur, you've got to juggle everything. And you talk about, I think you do talk about burnout, right?
I have wrote a
So,
book on it. Yeah.
right, yeah, burnout to brilliance, right? So,
Yes.
what are the most common signs of burnout that you see in female entrepreneurs, and what's a simple strategy that they can implement to take care of themselves?
Yeah. Oh, it always goes back to that first P, the foundation of, being your best cheerleader, because we tear ourselves down. We're like our worst critics. And when we're suffering burnout, we're probably really doing a number on ourselves inside.
Oh,
Um, so it's kind of like, okay, getting back to yourself, becoming present, doing some, visionary meditations like Dr. Joe Dispenza, really start doing some work. You can even find free stuff just, to try to get back into yourself and invest some time into you and finding out why are you feeling this way? Because we do this self inventory, like where are you in these 12 areas of life? And there's all these different things. And you can like see, okay, this is why I feel stuck. This is why I feel bent about this area. This is why I feel burnt out. I don't want to do this anymore. It'll be very clear if you're honest with yourself. Sometimes that's the hardest part is to be honest with ourselves because we don't want to face it because it's going to take work. Just like when you're 100 pounds overweight and you're going back into the gym and you get on that scale and you're weighing and measuring everything, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to really work for this. Well, yeah, you have to commit. That is the thing. You have to really choose you and commit to yourself that you're going to be better, that you're going to, you know, work on those goals. And it's the decision. That's the first step is really because no one can make you like you. I always wanted to make my daughter do things like make her feel better, but you really can't make anyone make that decision when they're like, I'm changing my life. I'm choosing me and I'm putting myself first because once you do that, then sky's the limit, or not. I mean, there is no limit. Like the sky's not even the limit. Like the possibilities are endless once you really dial in.
yeah. Possibilities are endless, right? Once you start doing the inner work, there's no putting the rabbit back in the box, right?
No, I refuse to go back there. And once you,
Absolutely. It's not going
I am
back
not
in the box. No. So
going. No.
you talk about the burnout. Is that you've also got a book, Create Clarity with Charity. Do you
Mhm.
talk about the burnout, or is that a separate book, Charity?
Yeah, it's in there too.
It's
Yeah.
in there
So the
too.
Create Clarity with Charity is the first book I wrote, and then I have the podcast that goes with it, which is about, overcoming stumbling blocks, the valley low, the mountain highs. Usually grassroots entrepreneurs, CEOs are on my show that have been self-made. They bootstrapped their business. They came from nothing. It wasn't handed to them. So it's really about that. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, I know that. Grassroots up. Yes, nobody. Well, my brother was an entrepreneur, but I didn't have any. It was actually after he died, I started my business. It was one of the, it was a big pivot point in my life, and I started my business just after he died. I said, right, that's it. I'm gonna I'm gonna take up his mantle wherever he left off as an
Yes.
entrepreneur and showing people how to do it and lead by example.
I
Um,
love it.
so what apart from burnout, what other things do you see that women have to face as entrepreneurs to stand in their power? I mean, you've talked about a few things. What's one of the other big obstacles, Charity?
Oh my goodness. Well,
Too
adversity,
many
we're
to mention.
minorities.
It's a whole other podcast.
Well, we can overcome anything. I'm an overcomer. Like, I don't really let people stop me. Because of their belief systems, as a woman's place in this world. We have to fight for it, and we really do have to stand in our power and be worthy of knowing you're the owner. You are the CEO. You're the boss of your universe, and your business. And I think that's hard not to swallow sometimes because we've been so repressed, and people just have put women in their box where they think they should belong. But I've always been kind of rebellious in that regard because I've always knew that I could be a leader. I think I had that fire inside, but I had a lot of adversity and resistance and, persecution and undermining and self-worth issues and not feeling worthy. So I realized I was holding myself back, like when I went to corporate, because I wanted to just fit in the corporate box and get my salary and get my retirement and have an easy peasy life and, go to happy hour with my friends and not have to work on the weekends. But that wasn't a glorified position either. Like being an owner is hard. So that's the thing. Like guys think it's a man's world when it comes to business ownership because it's a hard knock life for us. Okay. But you got to be resilient. It isn't just going to be handed to you. A lot of people think, oh, American dream, when you start a business, you put a boutique online, you start selling stuff. Oh my God, you're loaded, right? No, you have to work for it. You have to strategize. You have to use leverage. You have to know your money game. You have to be on your planning, and that is my advantage is that I have, you know, seen myself in my own visions because I take time to dial into what success looks like for me. So no matter what he says or she says or they say, and naysayers, because there's going to be a ton of them, because when you break out of the box, you step out of the mold, everyone's against you. It's a very lonely road because you won't have a lot of support at first. That's why you join groups and get coaches because they will love and support you and give you the right kind of support instead of feeling like they're against you, like they don't understand you, like they don't, I felt that a lot starting my own businesses all the time.
Yeah, you've got to find your tribe, and you've got to find people that are on your side or have walked the walk and are now
Yeah.
talking the talk, right? So, I couldn't agree more with that. And it isn't. Most women find all of those things you talked about, oh, this and this and this and this and this. Most women will identify with that, right? Being a people pleaser and not wanting to step outside the box, not wanting a voice. It's a man's world, most industries, in fact, and also the world of business. Oh, how can I do it, little old me?
Hmm.
Right? Little old me. How
Yeah.
can I do that? Right? Well,
Yeah.
you would take the first step. What's the first action step the first sort of tangible step that someone can take but isn't sure where to or how to start? What's your advice, Charity?
Well, I mean, and once again, it's an inner job. So you got to go inside. You got to go inside and check, like, am I happy here? Yes, no, no, yeah. Okay. Why? Okay, let's do the work. Let's take the self inventory. First, decide, choose you, get clear, get clarity, and know, okay, I got to change. I'm choosing me. and now I'm going to move forward. And then the first next thing I would say is hire a coach or a mentor or a consultant and have a strategy session. I offer free clarity calls on my website. I help a lot of women shift just on that call. It's free. Do that. You'll have then you'll feel like, oh, I have an ally. I have better vision. I have more ideas of what it's going to take for me to get to the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. And what's a common mistake you see new entrepreneurs make, and how can they afford it? Let's just choose one because I can name many that I made. So let's just pick one, the biggest one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say start without planning or thinking or even looking to see if it's a viable business. Even if, because people have a lot of great ideas, but is it viable? Is it going to be a hobby or is it going to be a business that you can monetize? So I think planning and really, getting clear on, who you are, who you serve, what problem you solve, really dial in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made that mistake. I was very good at business, corporate management, but so I decided to do management. And that's how I did my business was teaching management strategies. And I did well, but I hated it. I was like, this is why I got out of it, right? My
Yeah.
mindset was still in that industry, right? So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is a common mistake. Not every idea is a good idea. You know how many entrepreneurs I know built a business, their first business, and then burnt it to the ground and started again,
Seriously.
right?
Seriously. And I've done that so many times. I've literally started businesses in like, e-commerce business, Amazon stores, hiring management companies to help and, just get ripped off and didn't do enough due diligence. It's happens to the best of us. So it's really just, planning and really knowing what the bottom line is and how much time you need to invest. I like delegation. Like I can do all this because I have a great team. I can't do all that for everybody, I got like you got to build teams, and have a resources. Yeah.
So what's the biggest, after coaching for so many years, what is the biggest shift you've seen in the entrepreneurial world for women in the last 20 years?
Ooh. Oh, well, I really honoring themselves, taking time to have coaching, really doing the work. I like this new heart, brain, coherent soul connection that we're feeling that's helping us through. I really like that, the feminine is stepping in and taking into consideration. It's not just up here, it's the heart mostly, and coming with heart-centered leadership and not saying as much dog eat dog corporate, BS that I used to.
Masculine BS, yeah.
So yeah, I like that people are becoming more awoke, I think, and being, more intentional. And I think it's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that's true. We need more compassion and kindness leading from the heart and communities.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing cutting people and throwing them as you tra plow through the life, bring them on board. Okay, so there's some people you might not gel with, but find your tribe and build a community, join a community, right?
Yes.
Help each other.
Yeah.
You see someone else and you've done that and you've got the knowledge, share it,
Parrots. Yeah. They used to
right?
be coveted. They used to like,
Yes.
you're never going to tell you how to eat, all competitive and
You're gonna
stuff.
have to
You're like,
pay me 20,000 for that information. Right? Just give it to the, just share it. It's so
sharing,
much more
sharing. Yes.
satisfying, right?
It feels good to me. Like I really like the help factor being of service and baking that into business. I've noticed a lot of women are more, I've worked in a lot of, real estate, corporate owned women businesses, very cutthroat and competitive as well. Clients that I had that are like that. And I just see a lot more joy actually in the newer women, female entrepreneurs that they're
Right.
coming from a different angle and they're not stuck in the it was like they were all stuck in the masculine as a business owner, like they couldn't be their authentic feminine selves and they would come out really knuckle busting. I was like that, by the way. I had to be. I felt like I was a one woman army, like there was no But I see I've shifted as well. So I think it's a choice. Yeah.
I think that's what I didn't like really. I didn't like the sales management I was in and the retail management I was in. I did find it very masculine energy, and I found myself, I found I just didn't like myself. I stopped liking myself. And I thought there's got to be a better way. Well, I'm not going to make any changes here, so I need to leave, right? Change is very slow, and you have to be with a lot of the corporate industries, they've been around for a long time. They've got, their structures, their policies, their procedures, and they're still very masculine, very old masculine energy that you just can't shift. And if you can't do it there, for anybody that's listening, there's somewhere else that where you can. There's always, and people are building businesses like this, aren't they? No, Charity, where you will,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, and that's what I love. So the clients I do have, they are heart-centered and they are mission-based and they are about the people and cultivating, like you said, community, cultivating groups and cultivating a more holistic, heart, soul kind of business where everyone succeeds. So I think that's coming into light, and there's going to be a severe break here within our world that there's going to be the, corporate capitalist, head cutters and soul suckers. And then there's going to be like the heart centered,
mm,
grow together, community based, but let's get the job done and enjoy it. And I think, that's really important that people are investing more in their people. And if they are corporate, because I do have many corporate clients that I love and value because they're mission based and they're on the right path of serving others and doing good things. And so that's another choice in life. Like you really do need to know who your clients are, who you do want to work with, who you don't want to work with, and what you want to be stuck doing because we only have 24 hours in the day, all of us. That's our only commodity. And who and what do you want to be doing during those hours is so key.
I love that. I'm going
Yeah.
to conclude with two questions, Charity. So the first question is the women who are listening right now who feel like they're at a crossroads and ready to ditch the status quo to find their own path. What's the single most important piece of advice you would give them?
Start before you're ready. Do it
Oh
now.
yeah.
Stop thinking about it. If you've been there, you know how long you've been thinking about this. You got to take the step. You got to take action. Book a free coaching call, with Beth or me. Get on something so you can have that shift and have some support doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Start the inner work before you do anything else, right?
Right. Yes, that's key. Number one. Yeah.
Start the inner journey, right? You want to be an entrepreneur? Start the inner journey first. Trust me. Find a coach, find the joy, find the power, right? Find you
Yes.
first, right?
Yes, because you'll never regret it. You'll always remember how good you felt when you started getting into your magnetism and the momentum, and that you started feeling fulfilled again. And it's like a light switch that goes on inside, and it's very easy to attain if you want it.
And the second question is, where can our listeners find you? Learn more about the Happy CEO and connect with you in your work.
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, charitybrown.biz, B-I-Z. You can also find me on Instagram, charitybrown.biz. You can find me on YouTube, Charity Brown Now. You can find me all over the place. You can hear my podcast on all podcast channels. Apple Podcasts is probably best. Also, there it's all on my website. I have a wealth of information on my website. I have free book downloads. I have my podcasts on there. I have free coaching sessions. There's testimonials, and you can hear all about what I've been up to. And I'd love to find out more about you. So don't be afraid
Fabulous.
to reach out. Yeah.
Fabulous. A million thanks to Charity for joining me today. Thanks to our audience for hanging out, and we hope you found it inspiring and empowering. And to find out either myself or Charity, you can find all the details below if you didn't catch what we said already. And until this next time, this is Beth and Charity signing off. Goodbye.